I think the most difficult part was that when it was just me and the other character, just Jack and his robot, we had these amazing actor doubles who were acting opposite of us with their bodies. And so I think the hardest thing was making sure that we mirrored each other.
With most of the stuff that I've done before, I either play those two extremes. I either get cast as a complete arsehole or like some milquetoast sop with absolutely no backbone whatsoever. So it was nice to be able to sort of flex both of those muscles on set at the same time.
Swimming to shore.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Shoot her again.
This was not what I was expecting at all from the trailer. I was expecting it to be kind of like a zany, wacky kind of comedy. I didn't expect it to have an actual message to take away from it about, you know, the meaning of what it is to be alive. But it was just a blast watching it. And Shailene, to start with you haven't done a lot of comedy like this before and really dug into this kind of humor. What was it like taking part in a project like this?
I've never done a comedy before. And I've wanted to for so many years, but you know, comedy, it's so specific, and I feel like my sense of humor is really weird. And so when this script came along, I actually remember my agents being like, I don't know that you're like, I think they're not going to want to do this, but we just want to flag it because like Jack's involved and Ant's involved and Casper, the directors. And I read it and I was like, I have to do this movie. This movie understands me. For me, like the biggest draw was honestly working with Jack and work with Ant Hines and having the opportunity to kind of get my feet wet in the comedy genre with a story that did have heart and did have a lot of humanity to it, despite kind of the outrageous circumstances that these people were in. And I became addicted. All I want to do now is laugh on set and go to work it's so nice to go to work and not leave with like puffy eyes from crying or like anger in your bones from having to be mad all day. It just was a really uplifting experience.
And it is so much fun to watch. And Jack, for you bringing this character and, you know, you get to play just such it was just kind of reprehensible at the beginning, just like not a good guy. And playing that versus playing the robotic version of the character, was there at any point where you thought like, maybe I need to take this further, or maybe I'm going too far? Like, how did you find the balance with it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what attracted me to it as well, is the fact that you get to play both of those parts. And ultimately, I think with most of the stuff that I've done before, I either play those two extremes. I either get cast as a complete arsehole or like some milquetoast sop with absolutely no backbone whatsoever. So it was nice to be able to sort of flex both of those muscles on set at the same time. But I think in terms of like making sure that I didn't push it too far in either direction, that's why working with Shay was so great, because we spoke about it. We were so collaborative. We worked out what we wanted to do and how we wanted to pitch the robots, and, you know, make sure that we were all kind of like making the same choices and on the same page. Because like that was the greatest fear, was that we'd, you know, prepare for this in a vacuum and then turn up onto set on day one. Like they would be doing something very kind of realistic and I'd be like giving it the robot, and this is really not going to work. So I think it had to be a very collaborative process, and so thankfully it was.
She's deprogrammed now. She's feral. Charlie, want a pinky winky? No!
Get off me!
And was there any point that you debated whether or not you should stick with your accent, switch to a different accent? Was there any point where, you know, your character was going to be just like American, or was that baked in from the beginning?
I mean, I thought I was playing an American when I took the job. I was under the impression that I was going to be playing the character as American. But Ant, our director, who is British, I think was very keen that I do it in my own voice so that I could, you know, sort of lean into my comic register. I think one of our inspirations for Charles was the character of Whitehall in Whitehall and I, who is this very sort of heightened, slightly despicable, upper class English toff. And yeah, I think for him, he couldn't, once I'd been cast, not hear it in my own voice. So I was ready. I was I was game to do the American accent, but yeah, he thought it better to do it in my own voice.
And Shailene, for you, there's definitely like a political element right at the beginning. The movie first starts. There is a clear and definite political message that comes in there, just with like where the country is, what the state of things are. Was that something that from the beginning, was that always part of this take on the story? Because obviously that wasn't around when the story was originally written, but for this version, did that inform anything for how you were playing this story?
I don't know that it informed anything about how we were playing the story, but it was always involved. I mean, Ant Hines, who wrote the script and directed, he is, worked with Sacha Baron Cohen for years, and a lot of their comedy is based in political humor. And that was something that I was really drawn to. And, these people are so despicable. And by the end, they learn these lessons of how to be kind of more kind and gentle and how to just be a good human and not be a dick. And I think like the opening scene really sets the tone for the trajectory of where the story can take us, and hopefully will take us, and ultimately does take us.
Your phone.
I've never done this before.
1, 2.
Elaine also has a robot double.
You were dating a robot all along.
You two and I are running away together. Don't try to stop us.
Goodbye.
And for you playing the two characters, what was the hardest scene for you to play in this film?
I mean, I played 3.
Yes.
The hardest scene, I don't know what the hardest scene was. They were all really, I think the most difficult part was that when it was just me and the other character, just Jack and his robot, we had these amazing actor doubles who were acting opposite of us with their bodies. And so I think the hardest thing was making sure that we mirrored each other. And so Jennifer, the woman who is playing kind of my stand-in, and I would sit together and go, okay, this is how I think I'm gonna move, but I don't know exactly how I'm gonna move because I haven't done that part yet. So let's try and figure it out beforehand. And that was definitely the trickiest, because part of the beautiful thing about acting is what happens in the moment. And there wasn't as much of that license given, because we kind of did have to pre-program what exactly our movements would be.
And Jack, for you, was a lot of this character and what makes into the finished film, was that just from the script, or were there any moments where you just kind of went off and you were allowed to play around with it and just do something that was a little off script?
I mean, a little bit. Ant is obviously from that background, as is Casper. So, there was definitely a fair amount of kind of improvisation, and we were constantly kind of coming up with new ideas and extra jokes. And, again, they were brilliantly collaborative in that respect. But to Shailene's point, like there were a couple of sections, especially when you're doing it with your robot double, where it had to be a little bit more like carefully choreographed. And suddenly it became a little bit harder to be as freewheeling with the script, because you really had to hit your mark, give the right feed lines. It became a little bit of a technical exercise. But fortunately, it never felt like that outweighed the sense of being able to come on set each day and to play and to try things and to be kind of experimental with it. So I think they managed to strike a really good balance.
Awesome. Well, I really love the movie. You're both great. Jack, you're hilarious in it. Shailene, you definitely have to do more comedy. I think everybody's going to really love this when it comes out. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much.
Have a great day.